The share and the DM is such an intimate connection. They're kind of putting their stamp of approval on that content. Oh, we're getting so many engagements, we're getting so much reach. But let's talk about what types of engagements. What is the most important engagement on social media? The answer lies in the DM. That's right. So shares and DMs are the most important engagement on social media. I'll explain more in depth as we go into this program, but I wanted to talk about this more at length because the share in the DM is such an intimate connection. It's such an intimate engagement because really when you share something with a friend, with your old college buddies, with a loved one, it tells me that this content hit. It tells me that this content was so informational or educational that I had to share it with a friend. It tells me that I laughed so hard or cried so hard or this gave me such an emotional reaction that I gotta share this with somebody that I know and trust and love. And what happens in the DMs really in terms of Instagram and TikTok and how we just interact with each other. We know Snapchat has been doing this for so long where they look at themselves as a messaging app much more than a social media platform. But the engagement we don't talk enough about is the share. And not all engagements are created equal. You know, when we look at an engagement rate, we look at total engagements, we're looking at likes and comments and saves and shares. And those are not weighted equal. In my opinion, it's not direct math, but I think a share, if someone DMs my content to somebody, that's worth 10 times more than a more passive engagement like a double tap on the screen, which is a like. I think a like can be somewhat subconscious. It can be passive. But when you're DMing something to somebody, that also, let's be honest, like when it comes to your friends too, if they're DMing you a bunch of lame content, you kind of judge them. You're like, oh, what? Dude, your sense of humor is awful. Or you're like, God, I love every time you DM me because it's always so spot on and you get me, right? So people, I think, when they go through the effort to DM their friend something, they DM their loved one something, they know that that person will like this and they're kind of putting their stamp of approval on that content. Like, yeah, I think this is funny and I think you're going to think this is funny too. So an analogy I thought was kind of interesting is let's pretend it's your birthday. And I want to go down the list in terms of weighing these engagements. So it's your birthday. If I text you happy birthday, that's kind of the equivalent of a like. You know, it's a passive kind of like, I made sure I checked the box. That's a like. If I send you a handwritten note, I would equate that to a comment, right? Where, wow, you actually ingested the content, you went to comments, you sat there and thought about what do I want to comment. It's a more, you're going the extra mile. Like the fact that you sat down and did a handwritten happy birthday card to me, I got to tell you, that's a lot more, that carries more weight than my friend who just sent me the happy birthday text. Now a save, if you save this content for later, I would equate that to sending a gift in the mail. Like, wow, you actually went out, you thought of me, you found something I would enjoy, and you took the time to send it out in the mail before my birthday so I had it to open on my birthday. What a kind gesture that is as a friend on my birthday. And the DM, the share, this is when you show up in person to surprise your friend with a gift and you go to dinner with them to celebrate their birthday. That's the kind of funny analogy, but I think it's true. The difference from a like, the difference from a happy birthday text to someone that shows up on your birthday, gives you a gift and hangs out with you at a dinner is really the difference from a like and a share and DM. And the reason I say that and I make it, kind of analogy there for you is this is also what the platforms are rewarding. Hey friends, quick favor. Can you please like this video and subscribe to this channel? If you get any value from this episode or the show in general, we'd really, really appreciate it. Back to the action. When you look at the CEO and head of Instagram, Adam Mosseri, he says, when you're creating content, think about creating something that people would want to send to a friend. TikTok, Instagram, they are weighing the engagements and they are sending this out to more people, getting this on the For You page, getting this on the Explore tab. If people are sharing content at a very high rate, the algorithm is rewarding that. They're adjusting the algorithm. So if you want to change your personal algorithm, start saving a lot of stuff that you enjoy. Start DMing and sharing a bunch of stuff that you enjoy. And guess what? Your algorithm, your For You page is going to start to really show up in the right way. So I thought this was an interesting topic that again, not a lot of people talk about. Oh, we're getting so many engagements. We're getting so much reach. But let's talk about what types of engagements and knowing that as we evolve on these platforms and the algorithms change, that even the heads of these platforms on Instagram and TikTok are admitting that, yeah, if you get 100 likes, but you also get 100 shares, those 100 shares are weighted so much more than those 100 likes, and we're going to be sending that out. So and there's a lot of content I see and this is where bots get involved as well, something gets 1,000 likes but 2 shares. That content didn't hit, in my opinion. But if that same piece of content, if a different piece of content got 140 likes and 140 shares, that content's so much more impressive, even though when you add up all the engagements, the first example is something that ultimately looks more impressive on paper or an executive summary, but the algorithm is definitely pushing the second example much, much more. So again, shares and DMs, they signal really deep engagement. And when you think about your content and you're in that whiteboard session, you're thinking about how we can make this shareable. It's all about shareability, and the platforms are all about discoverability over followers. So your content is being seeded to non-followers much more than it ever has before. And if you can create content that has a more likelihood of sharing than just content that's more passive, people liking, you're going to have a lot more success on social media. So there you have it, another edition of the Business of Social podcast. Hope you guys enjoyed that. Make sure to like and subscribe and all those fun things. This has been powered by STN Digital. My name's David Brickley.